Anyway, welcome, and yeah, thanks for joining us here, coming all the way from, well, you were actually born at Stanford Hospital, so this is kind of a homecoming in a certain way, right?
It kind of like is, yeah. It is.
Yeah. So KBW Ventures is your venture arm. Can you tell us a little bit about it? How old is it? How many portfolio companies you got?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. So KBW Ventures is about 4 or 5 years old. I started investing in venture about 10 to 12 years ago. It was really nothing structured. So I wanted to work on investing in a more structured manner. So I created KBW Ventures, and we're starting to focus a little more outside of seed investing. So we're working on growth as well as seed investments on a smaller scale.
And how many companies have you bought into?
Oh, wow. I think we've invested in about 12 companies to 15 companies right now. Mm-hmm. And the number keeps growing simply because we invested in a fund called Proof Fund. And really it's a pro rata opportunity fund. So we use other smaller VC pro rata rights to invest into their companies, the companies that are really breaking out of the herd, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So we keep their ownership into these companies, and if they can't fulfill their pro rata rights through whatever reason, if they're over leveraged, if they're exposed too much into one company, they're out of money, whatever the reason is, we would invest into these companies, and really gives us access to so many different sectors as opposed to focusing on one specific sector. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your father, Prince Alwaleed, who's actually watching now from Saudi Arabia live, and in fact there's a picture of him with Steve Jobs and you that they can project up here somewhere.
Yep.
And yeah, he's over standing in the background.
Yeah.
Anyway, he invested in Apple.
Yes.
He invested in Lyft. He invested in Twitter. Mm-hmm. What kind of wisdom did he impart about picking companies and tech companies, yeah, that you've carried on?
Really, the passion of investing in tech really started when I was young, and then learning about the ability to be part of these companies through investment was an eye-opener for me. And then I saw that obviously through investments from my dad. When he invested in Apple, he invested in I want to say Amazon, yes, and eBay and other companies, and I was really fascinated in that regard. I remember having trips coming to Silicon Valley when I was younger, and sitting with all sorts of venture capital, and all sorts of companies, like young companies then, eBay and the likes, and really being fascinated with the work ethic, with the level of research, with the level of commitment that he had to investing into these up-and-coming companies back then. And that really opened my eyes to how to analyze a company, what to ask, what to look for, and invest in management as opposed to just concepts.
Mm-hmm. Today, one thing that's probably different is there's so much money chasing companies. Mm-hmm. What do you bring to the table? Why would somebody want KBW to be, why would they want to take your money?
So I'm not the biggest person to toot my own horn. I'm not sure how to do this, but really what we bring to the table is experience, a healthy level of skepticism in terms of just trying to understand and really give other points of view with companies. What we do is we do a lot of networking. So we open up access to the Middle East to these companies. So we've done that for a range of companies that we work for and we partner with. Zipline, Gelter, Beyond Meat, Just, and other companies that we invest in. We open up the doors to the Middle East, and the Middle East has a lot more to offer than just a blank check. About 70% of the population of Saudi Arabia is under 30 years old, a really, really young population. And they're all really excited about venture capital. They're excited about, they want to be entrepreneurs. They just want to start new businesses as opposed to just taking on their father's business or their mother's business and whatnot. So what we bring to the table also in terms of coming to the Middle East is exposing these companies to companies from the West who are experienced, who have been through the rigmarole of pitching family and friends round, to a seed round, to a Series A and B, because they're all different. And we've really enjoyed a massive success. I'm really happy about that.
They were playing the
Zipline?
The Zipline video, just showing the drone flying. So a product like that, how would people in the Middle East use it? I mean, right now it's being used in Africa to like deliver medical drops, and in Ghana and Rwanda.
Yeah.
So how would they use it in Saudi Arabia?
So if you think about the company really is a logistic company more than anything else. And what we do is we cover Rwanda, 100% of Rwanda in about 30 minutes or less, delivering medical supplies to much needed villages and towns in Rwanda. They've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now. Part of what we do, going back to your question also, is that they wanted to expand further than Rwanda, so we were able to get the meetings with Ghana, which they're in right now. We're working with them to getting in the Ivory Coast, in South Africa, in Kenya, and Congo, and other countries over there, to open up the doors for them to start doing business over there. But the point I'm trying to make is that this company has got hundreds of thousands of hours, logged hours of flight time. They can drop a 5 to 7 pound payload on a 5 square meter radius. So as soon as lawmakers open up the skies, so to speak, for drone delivery, Saudi Arabia would be a perfect example, because it's vast, it's a large country, and just doesn't make sense logistically or financially really for logistic companies to deliver 5 pound, 10 pounds of delivery of product 20, 30, 40, 50 miles. So drone delivery makes the perfect sense, and Zipline would be the first in line, I believe.
A big focus of yours has been on plant-based food products. First of all, you were a vegan for health reasons, right? And then you kind of stumbled onto this investing area, but Beyond Meat, when did you invest in that, and about what happened to the value of your original investment now?
So clearly we're very lucky with Beyond Meat. I've met Ethan Brown, I think, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago. I met him at his office in Manhattan Beach. And ever since the first time I met him, that just made 100% sense. I mean, I've looked into factory farming. I've looked into the inefficiencies of factory farming, and how his business model can really help source protein differently than what it is right now. And clearly, we're very happy with our investment.
So you don't want to say it's worth, 5 million% of what you put in or anything like that based on the stock price today?
It's up pretty nicely, yeah.
Another one, Gelter.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about what that company does and the benefits for it.
So this is a really, really interesting company. So Gelter, to break it down into something really manageable and easy to understand, Gelter really is a company that does synthetic collagen and gelatin. And that really threw me back when I knew that about 80% or maybe a little more of the cosmetic industry use pig gelatin into their product. So that got me thinking. I mean, I'm a Muslim, and I understand that the numbers differ, but there's about 1.4 billion Muslims around the world, and arguably all of them, maybe a majority of them, don't know that the products that they're using has pig collagen in it. So we worked with our network to work with scholars in Pakistan, in Saudi, in Egypt, and in Malaysia to expose the fact that this is an issue, and this is not a halal product. It should not be sold or consumed rather by many Muslims, as well as it's not kosher, so to speak. So we were able to make an investment in the company and really open up the doors to the company, to the cosmetic industry, and hopefully have huge sales that can come from that. It's a new company right now. There's been one big deal that we've done right now in Korea, but we're working on a much bigger deals, obviously, throughout the Middle East.
What is, it seems like food right now and plant-based products is a huge and growing area of venture investing. Describe like where we are in the development of that and what you see as the future of that as like a whole field. I mean, most people think about venture investing as much more digital, electronics, not so much plants.
Yeah, I agree. And then it really, there's a few ways of breaking it down. There's a plant-based protein, and obviously there's cellular agriculture, which is clean meat. The way that we're looking at it, obviously, from a from a plant-based protein, is that we're looking at a market that's about a $1.2 trillion market, which is the meat consumption of the world. And that's an absolutely enormous number. But then you go back and you look at the plant-based protein aspect of it, and we're barely scratching 1% of that number. So the market is absolutely enormous. But more importantly, because I don't like to just talk about the market, I'd like to talk about how we're going to achieve getting that number a lot higher than 1%. Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and other companies out there are really breaking ground. And as you've seen with the most successful IPO right now, Beyond Meat is really creating ripples around this industry. I mean, I personally see Beyond. I think there was an analyst in Merrill Lynch that said they're going to do about $350 million by 2021. They're going to pass by that next year. I don't believe that the Wall Street understands the potential of this company. I mean, I'm betting that this company will achieve $1 billion by the next 2 years in sales. And revenue, I mean, and maybe 10 times that by 2029.
And what are the sort of moats or barriers to entry for other people to compete with it? Is it safe in that way?
I mean, I don't see how it cannot be safe because it's non-GMO. It's a lot safer than eating meat, so to speak. I mean, we've all seen the issues with meat from a health perspective, and we've all seen the issues with meat from an environmental perspective. And it tastes just as good. It's in about, I'll even say that in about two, three years, plant-based protein will be cheaper than animal protein. With the subsidies that the factory farming industry gets with the sales of animal protein.
There's also, I mean, environmentally, it's like, what was that? One Beyond Meat patty uses 1% of the water, 7% of the land, half of the energy, and like 10% of the greenhouse, produces 10% of the greenhouse gases.
As opposed to a regular burger.
A regular burger, yeah. So it's kind of environmentally less impactful and stuff like that. And
I mean, and it tastes just as good. I mean, I remember eating the beta version of Beyond the Burger about 4 years ago, I want to say, and I was at a friend's barbecue, and he's vegan, and he gave me a bite of the Beyond Burger, and I mean, as disgusting as it sounds, I actually spit it out, and I said, "This is not funny." Well, what are you doing? So he says, "No, this is the Beyond Burger." Well, what the hell is a Beyond Burger? And then I understood what it was. I started looking into the company. This is when I met Ethan Brown, and then I am where I am right now.
So how do you find companies? I mean, you mentioned the partner, but how do you look out there and say, what else is on the horizon? What else would be good for KBW to invest in?
So I've been coming to Silicon Valley for about 15 years now. So I've established a really good network here that I have in the region. More importantly, through the Proof Fund that I've invested in. So I'm an LP and a GP in the Proof Fund, and we're actually doing our second fund right now. The way that we source deals was an eye-opener for me, because what we're doing is we're partnering with smaller venture capital funds, and we're letting them have the crystal ball, so to speak. So they can be specialists in either e-commerce, in food, science, in agriculture, and any other tech field, really, because it has to be specific to tech. And that's how we really source our deals, is through the Proof Fund, and through the fund, and through the network that I've built in Silicon Valley.
I know you're a great guy, but there might be a lot of people who say, I have a problem partnering with somebody from Saudi Arabia, especially here in the United States. What would you say to somebody like that who said, raise that question?
Good question. So basically, I haven't faced that yet, and I hope I never do. Simply because you can't shed one color into an entire population. But again, I've had the privilege of meeting some amazing people in this industry. I've invested about 7 to 10 companies the last 3 years. I haven't had any issues at all. I've just closed about three deals about a month ago. This issue hasn't been raised yet, and I don't believe it will be. I believe that people are definitely looking into the person that they see in front of them as private sector, and the private sector is definitely something that's attractive for the venture world. Saudi Arabia and America have had a relationship right now for more than 80 years. It's always going to be good. It's never been bad relationship. So again, there are a bunch of hiccups up and down that happened with an amazing relationship. But then again, I see a broader future going forward. I tend to not want to look at what's happening nowadays, if anything is happening nowadays, and just focus on that and just forget about what's happening and what's going to happen in the future.
You also invested a lot of real estate related projects with the other side of KBW.
Yeah.
What kind of difference do you expect as far as your return on investments from your real estate and your VC? I mean, yeah.
So beyond me just screwed everything up. So that's in a good way. So that's a good thing. But obviously, in the real estate world, I'm actually fairly new in the real estate arena, but we're doing a lot of real estate work in the Middle East, especially in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. We're seeing really good opportunities happen over there, but it's still early. We started about 1.5 years, 2 years ago right now, and we're seeing a lot of potential going forward. But for me, where my heart lies is in venture. I mean, I'll always do venture first as opposed to doing anything else.
So this is a passion, but is it, aside from Beyond Meat, what kind of typical time frame and sort of return on your investment in a more normal average world would you be expecting out of your projects?
So we do a bunch of, so we have energy, alternative energy investments. We have renewable energy again, and we have real estate, and we do a bunch of other stuff on the side. But really the main focus is venture. The main focus also is real estate. And one of my closest investments really is in the alternative energy. So what we're doing right now is we're exchanging street lights in the entire country of Jordan, changing them into LED lights. And we're doing that through an ESCO model. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with an ESCO model, but really it's an energy savings cost model. And we exchange them for free. And we do the maintenance for free and the installation for free, and we just pocket the difference between the traditional lights and the LED lights that we install for X amount of years, and that's our IRR. And usually we focus on getting anywhere between 18 to 24 IRR. It just depends on the industry.
Wow, that's 18 to 24 though sounds pretty good.
It's a really good model, especially with the ESCO model. I was shocked that not a lot of people were doing it, and we're starting in Egypt. We're going into Saudi Arabia and other countries right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you also talked in our conversation earlier about some of the alternative energy projects that you're involved in. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about some of those?
Of course, yeah.
Startups.
So through the intersect of interest that my father and I have in technology, we've worked. I've been asked to represent him in the Breakthrough Energy Ventures, which is the Bill Gates initiative that he has right now. It's an absolutely eye-opener. It's one of the most exciting things that I've ever, exciting companies that I've ever attended, meetings that I've ever attended. We just attended a board meeting, I believe, in Naples about three months ago, and we had about 19 companies pitch. And you can see all the companies on the website on Breakthrough Energy Ventures. But these companies are absolutely in their breakthrough stage, so to speak, from anywhere from geothermal to growing fungi-based foods to wind and solar. But it's absolutely one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
Your father, the last one of the last times he was in the news was when he was like under house arrest. So what is he doing now? What kind of investing work is he involved with?
Right now, so what is he doing? So just to recap on the house arrest part. So there was no arrest, so to speak. So I know that people want to label it in the way they want to. It was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've actually looked into the statistic, and about 50% of Americans would forego a lot of their civil rights for their country, and this is exactly what he did. And then again, he was at the Ritz, so I'm not sure about what kind of arrest that would be, but count me in. But that was a stage of his life where he and the government had a long conversation about the corruption issues that Saudi had faced previously, and there was a lot of light shed on the issues on other people being charged with that. And we've seen in this public news, we've seen a lot of these people detained and all that stuff, but nothing happened obviously with him. He's been actively investing in Snapchat. He's invested a little more, I believe, in Kareem. Now obviously it's been bought by Uber. So there's a lot of activity still happening in the investment world, but really what I'm really focused on is his activity in breakthrough energy. That's something that I'm really excited about.
Is there a sort of unifying theme in your investments? I mean, the real estate you're building presumably is energy efficient. You've got a lot of energy related stuff. Your food production, plant-based, is a lot more energy efficient. So is that a factor? Do you do like ESG factors, especially environmental factors, in your consideration of your products that you're investing in?
In every real estate opportunity that we're going through, and the two real estate developments that we have in Sharjah, which is an emirate near Dubai, it has energy efficiency in its mind. So we're doing special lanes for bike lanes. We're doing free electric buses and trams all around the city. We've also introduced ISO certified buildings and materials for every house that we have over there. So it's really something in the forefront. It's something really, really important to me. At the end of the day, it's a responsibility as us humans to really give back to what the Earth has given us. And sadly, we are treating Earth not in the best way that we should. And we've seen the signs come at the next 12 years or so, if I'm not mistaken, or 10 years. There's that irreversible effects that are going to be taken effect if we don't make some serious changes. And I'd like to be a positive impact on that part.
Can your companies provide enough economic lift to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf to like replace the petroleum industry there? Which
the good thing is I don't need to. The good thing is I don't need to. There was just a statistic that came out in Saudi that non-oil revenue in Saudi Arabia has gone up by 14%, and that has nothing to do with me. That has to do with His Majesty King Salman, and obviously driven by the leadership of Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. So. Will I be a big part of that? I'm not sure. If I'm 1% driving force of that huge initiative, then great. But I think it's driven by Prince Mohammed bin Salman and his vision to really change Saudi Arabia to what it was about 5-6 years ago now to what it is now. I mean, just wait for tomorrow's news. Tomorrow is going to be one of the most biggest news in Saudi Arabia, which is the guardianship issue that we've heard about all over the place. I've seen Twitter explode about the guardianship will be eliminated, and that's all thanks to the vision of King Salman and Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Wow, I'm not sure exactly what the guardianship is, but we're out of time.
Everyone who does will know. Yep.
So anyway, thank you very much, Prince Khaled.
Thank you.
And enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much.